to the Texas Panhandle War Memorial. And if you've never been here, take advantage of our education center on our museum after the presentation. Although today, we do have kind of a special event going on at 4 o'clock. Normally closes at 4. We were chosen from museums around the world. 20 museums around the world were chosen to show a movie that begins today. That was put together by a Swedish rock group, heavy metal group called Sabaton, and they did the animated movie for World War I called War to End All Wars. And like I said, our name, somebody here in Amarillo suggested to them that the War Memorial would be a great place to have it, not knowing that we didn't have the functionality to show a movie. Knowing that, I went ahead and filled out the application. I figured, yeah, what the heck? We can show it on the computer if we have to. So we were accepted as one of the 120 museums around the world to show the movie. So today at 4 o'clock, we'll be showing an hour-long movie, and I've watched it 4 times now. It's fantastic. I'm not a heavy metal guy, but it's not one of the, like you said, it's not Def Leppard.
Yeah, not like that.
All right. So that's going on. We're trying to do more things here on the education end for our students, whether they're middle school or high school, and fill gaps in our civics. Thought this would be a good start. That's one of the new things that's going on. Next Saturday is our Veterans Day ceremony at 11 o'clock. We do every year. Doing that this year. It'll be outside as long as weather permits. Like last year, we set it up and we got here at 7 o'clock in the morning. Move it inside. Yeah. Even though I had said the night before, I think we should set up inside. So hopefully they'll listen to me this year. But hopefully it'll be outside. But this is free for everybody today, which we're glad to do. I'm hoping that we're going to move the museum and education center to be free all the time, because we don't want to keep people coming to see what we have here, not only as a museum pieces, but what we add in presentation. That is not to say that we don't take donations. I have to put that forward. We do take donations because that's the only way that we memorial the state. We don't receive any federal, state, or local funding. Keep those gardens going, and what goes on here, we have to either corporate donations, grants, and then enough said about money. I feel like a preacher. Today we have Jason Allen. I've known Jason Allen.
Been a minute. 14? 14?
I was younger than you are right now when I moved to Canyon.
When we met?
Right. So that's how long I've known him. He was almost invited.
14.
Not quite, but so yeah, I've known Jason and his family for a long time. But it's hard to find speakers all the time. I found out that he wasn't even living here. When I called him and asked if he would do this, it was supposed to be in October. So we moved it to this month. He said, I need a reason to travel back up to Amarillo.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell you anything about him. That's his job. That's why he's here. But knowing him as a small child and the man that he is today and what he's been through, everything, to me, it's like kind of gratifying. I knew him when I was in trouble.
Of course.
I'm not going to say much more. I'm going to just leave it up.
Turn it over?
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank everybody for having me here today and showing up. It is an honor and privilege to even be asked to do anything like this. For those that don't know me, my name is Jason Allen. I'm from Canyon, Texas, born and raised in this area. My hope today is that I leave you with a good idea of what life was like with the first unit I ever served with, and that is the 1st of the 3rd US Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, at Fort Myer, Virginia. I have about 100 interesting stories to pick from, so I chose 2. But they changed my life forever. I will never quit. Those are just words on a page, or the 3rd line in the warrior ethos. When I volunteered, I really didn't have any idea how much those words would be put into action when I reported to the Old Guard, September 1st, 2004. See, my first full week there, we go for a company run, and I'm experiencing quite a bit of pain. For the first time in my short military career, I was falling out of a run. I can feel my right shin bone about to snap out of my leg. After a few harsh words and warnings from my leadership for not being a faker or some kind of infantry washout, I started feeling sorry for myself. Excuse me. I call home and talk to my parents, kind of tell them what's going on. And without those words of encouragement, I wouldn't have lasted another week in the Old Guard. I was getting ready to go AWOL. So that call was everything. I get a bone scan at Walter Reed Medical Center. Sure enough, grade 4 stress fracture. There was the proof I needed to show exactly how injured I was. The doctor even said if I had taken a few more steps, it would have broken all the way through. Yeah, Mr. Tough Guy. That lasted about 5 minutes. So I hobbled into the cafeteria on crutches at Walter Reed one way, and I left another one. As I looked around the room, I saw God's purpose for leading me to serve in the Old Guard. That cafeteria was filled with wounded warriors from the recent wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Talk about an instant gut check. And I would never again let a little adversity be a thing to determine my outcomes. I was there to serve and honor people who serve, and the responsibility of that is enormous. I will never quit. There's those words again. I was going to talk to you guys today about kind of daily life in the Old Guard, what the standards were, challenges I faced, etc. But I was assigned to Charlie Company, and I was a member of the Color Squad in 1st Platoon, or Escort Platoon. Our primary job was participating in full honors ceremonies in Arlington National Cemetery. And the requirements for that are presented right here, maybe. There it goes. So as you kind of read through those, you get an idea if we were honoring someone in Arlington with an escort platoon, it was pretty serious. Just know this, in the Old Guard, the standards are pretty high, but they're just that. The standard is the floor, not the ceiling. In other words, doing the bare minimum gets you nowhere. Your uniform, just go ahead and exceed the standard. Your fitness level, go ahead and exceed the standard. Your drill and ceremony ability, you're going to practice that until you can perform it and honor the fallen properly. I was never the best soldier at any one thing. There was always somebody better than me. As a matter of fact, my first 12-mile road march with these guys, I got horrible blisters on my feet, breaking in new boots. Some of the people in this room know exactly how that feels. But 6 people beat me that day. I didn't care about the other 20 behind me. Didn't matter. That was 6 blemishes that I had to improve myself. My teammates and I participated in a conservative guess of over 500 ceremonies in 2.5 years, and none of them was ever good enough. There was always room for improvement. When we practiced for ceremonies, which was daily, it wasn't just going through the motions. It was practicing, pursuing perfection, knowing full well we would never get there. Now, we always pushed each other to be better. And did that mean giving each other a hard time? Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, on a standard 2-mile run, timed run, I took off and I left everybody. They were so far behind me on the route, I got lost. So I slowed down enough where I could see somebody again. And I'm like pointing, asking for directions. And so my time was not as good as I wanted it to be. My platoon leader at the time, he's a West Point graduate. And he says to me, "Allen, you better run faster, bud, or I'm going to catch you next time." Without even thinking, I was like, "Sir, at West Point, they must teach you to lead from the rear. Because in Texas, we lead from the front." Yeah, I got a good laugh. But I did a lot of push-ups for that. And the point is, we pushed each other to be our very best every single day. During a ceremony, don't even think about passing out. But if you do, make it look really good on the way down. Lastly, one of the things people always want to know, were you ever a tomb guard? And I was not ever a tomb guard, to be clear. All right. I could have been if I had volunteered a 3rd time. So a tomb guard is a 3-time volunteer. You have to volunteer for active duty in the infantry. You have to volunteer to go to the old guard. And then again, if you want to walk that gauntlet, you can do that and volunteer for the tomb. Was I afraid? Absolutely. I was not afraid I would fail, but I was more afraid of succeeding. I knew if I ever took that leap, that was it. No messing around. However, several of my friends did volunteer, and only one of them made it through. The other ones quit, or they were kicked out, or something. It's no easy task. The friend I'm going to talk about today is this guy right here. Chase Neely, platoon badge holder number 553. To explain that number to you, since 1957, when the first badge was earned by William E. Daniel. In 2006, my friend Chase was only the 553rd person to earn that honor. And let me begin by explaining exactly how that is earned. Chase volunteered for the tomb in April of 2006 after we had served together as part of Charlie Company Color Squad. And Chase and I lived together in an apartment off post. So I witnessed firsthand what he endured. And so my friends that quit, when they quit exquisitely. One of my friends, he got so upset late one night, he grabs all of his uniforms, all of his gear, everything, storms off in the night in the middle of the cemetery, goes to the gates, and stands there until the sun came up. They opened the gates, and he just walked out. So I don't know what happened. Another one of my friends got so mentally worked up, he didn't show up for 2 duty days. And then when he finally did show up, he pretty much said, "You guys can send me to Leavenworth, whatever you want to do. I'm done. Finished." And no one could ever really pinpoint to me exactly what got him to that breaking point. So I was always curious. To give a little bit perspective of the difficulty of serving at the tomb, all of my friends that did quit, every single one of them is a combat veteran. One of them is a Golden Gloves boxer, and the other one is a successful lawyer now in South Texas. No small feat. Chase Neely, however, did endure, and I got a front row seat to see exactly how he did that. His first day, he comes home with a brand new pair of leather shoes that he will shine for the next several months before he can even wear them up on the mat at the tomb in front of the public. He was issued a bayonet scabbard that literally looked like it was found on a battlefield in Normandy. He would shine and polish that the exact same way. The tomb sentinel standard for the uniform is even higher, the highest one I've ever seen. Beneath the tomb steps is where the tomb sentinels on duty reside. There's a room full of nothing but mirrors so they can practice the guard change and tomb sentinel rifle manual and see it from every single angle. On his off days, which was every other 24 hours, Chase would be at our apartment, shining his shoes. And it wasn't just like for 30 minutes or an hour or so. We would put on a couple movies, and he would finish one shoe. And then we would put on another couple more, and he would start on the other one. This went on for about 6 weeks. And in that time, Chase was preparing for his first badge test. There are 4 total, and each test you pass, the next one's more difficult. You're allowed fewer mistakes than the previous one. This test includes 7 pages of knowledge about the tomb, Arlington National Cemetery, and Sentinel knowledge to be written out, including all punctuation. So if you forget a period, that's a mistake. You forget to capitalize something, it's a mistake. All right? If you get that far, then you prepare your uniform for inspection. And anything that could be measured on that uniform down to a 64th of an inch, if it's off, mistake. If and when you get that far, you've earned a shot at walking on the mat at the tomb where the badge holders are watching you from the crowd. Congratulations, you've passed your first test. You've only got 3 more to go. I will never forget the day he passed as long as I live. Chase called my cell phone that evening, and he is irate. He is talking crazy, and he's a pretty mild-mannered guy. I'm just trying to get him to calm down. I don't even know what he's talking about. He passed his first test, and he was driving to get all the current badge holders dinner at that moment because he passed, and that's the tradition down there. Chase kept telling me he wasn't going back, and he was going to crash his car into a tree. To be clear, this was not some sort of suicide talk, just a reason to never have to go back down there again. To this day, I'm still not sure how I got him to calm down enough, but I'm certain it was divine intervention. I told him this is that moment when most people quit. This is that time when they find your breaking point. And we have seen it time and time and time again. I told him it was an awesome job that he passed, and do not let this be the thing that destroys all of that. So he did calm down enough to return, and I finally got to see him a few days later at the house. And at this time, I got to see what he was so upset about. His shoes, pretty scuffed up. Those same shoes we sat there and had conversations over and watched movies with. Took his uniforms and had pretty much just dismantled them. Scabbard, same thing. Why do all of this? What's the point? Is it just to be mean or protect the tomb badge to a maniacal degree? Here's where the miracle happened. When Chase returned that evening, they backed off of him the rest of the time that he remained at the tomb. They knew they had broken. They just wanted to find out if he would last. Again, you might ask, what for? Why? It's because of what the tomb sentinels represent. Not only do some people give their lives for us here in America, there are some who have also given their identity. If soldiers like me and Charlie Company were responsible for honoring the fallen, then what is a tomb sentinel responsible for? Representing all of the unknowns. If you ever have the privilege of watching the changing of the guard, or if you watched it before, please remember some of these stories today. See, during all this stress that Chase was going through, he still had his personal life stresses as well. And I will never put another man's personal business in public. But how he managed to will himself to not quit and stand right back in there and face that is beyond me. I'm still not sure why or how I talked him into going back down there. I was just trying to help him in a moment. He invited me to his badge ceremony a few months later, and I could not have been more honored or proud to witness it than I was that day. What does all this mean to me after all these years? What did I take away from these experiences? I learned how to not just say thank you for things, but to show thanks. Pursuing perfection is a task that leads to finding out what you are capable of. You will never achieve perfection. There is only one perfect human being, and that is Jesus Christ. But if I pursue it, that's whenever I can start showing thanks to those around me. We really do not have much control over anything in our lives. God is in control. We can, however, decide how we respond to those things. Being in the old guard for 3 years, I was never comfortable, but I became comfortable with that. For a family member witnessing us at Charlie Company, honoring their loved one, that might be the only military ceremony they ever see. And those 500 funerals plus, the ones I remember the most are the ones I made mistakes on. Or one particular in Section 60, where there were 8 caskets in one ceremony of soldiers killed in action in the War on Terror. Or a ceremony where I could see the Pentagon through the trees at Arlington showing the burn marks from the 9/11 attacks, in case I forgot what I was doing there. We had that many chances to make a great first impression of the people we were honoring. To this day, I still pursue perfection. It leaves me little to no time to criticize other people around me. If I'm trying my best to improve myself, who benefits more? Me or those people around me? I think the answer to that is highly debatable. We cannot pursue perfection, however, without help. And my phone call home at a severe low point just proved to be life-changing. Chase Neely asking me for help at one of his lowest points is something I was just blessed enough to be a part of. I was in the right place at the right time. After 3 years of serving in Arlington, I had to turn in all my stuff and give it back. What I'm left with is what I did while I had it. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But we sure gave it a shot. It's what all those headstones in Arlington National Cemetery should read. I hope my headstone says the same one day. Until then, the pursuit continues. Again, thank you for having me, and let me share with you today. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions of Jason before he?
Any questions at all?
They always have questions.
Oh, fire away.
Actually, we are honored today, and he's a friend of mine, and I didn't know this of him. But Johnny, he was an honor guard.
He was a tomb guard. He was a tomb guard.
And Jason, this is just a little token of our appreciation for you coming out here.
I appreciate the invite.
All right.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.